Playing with games.
Piano club.
All right, thank you. Good evening. This is the Mount Anthony Union High School number 14 meeting, Board of Directors meetings for Wednesday, October 16th. And I'm just going to review the agenda. I have a few words to begin with, and then we'll get right into the agenda. So we have a public comment session. We have a presentation on the gardens, and I do apologize. Last year or 2 years ago when we did this, we met when it was light out, so we could walk through the garden, and I realized that at 7 p.m. we couldn't really have Dan and Al walk behind us in the dark, so I will rethink that for next time. The treasurer's report is now posted, but it's also in front of you. The FYI under action items is not really an action item, it's more of a report out from Rick. Tim will review the finance meeting schedule and update, and he and Rick can update on the beginning of the SU finance meetings. We have a request for 2 additional clubs at the middle school, the consent agenda, and then reports from the principals, Donna Leap, myself, and other. And you'll see some FYIs at the bottom. So I'd like to begin the meeting tonight to share with the board that we have lost a middle school student, a 7th grade student, has had an untimely passing. And I wanted to let the board know that the school has put a lot of resources and staff in place to help parents and students. There's been help from the community as well as the high school. The family has asked for their privacy, and I plan to respect that. And I would say that our condolences are with the family, and I believe Tim and his crew are doing as best they can under this unfortunate situation. So I had thought about what one might say at a time like this, but I'm not really prepared for that. So my heart goes out to the family. So I just actually would like to follow up to say that by saying nothing, I felt that I needed to respect the family and acknowledge the untimely passing, and to go on too much would be an invasion of their privacy. So there's a balancing act that has to take place. So our first item is public comment, and I'm wondering if we have any public comment tonight before our presentation.
I just wanted to come before the board and just mention and give thanks to the staff at the middle school and the faculty, as well as the staff of the SVSU that has come forward to put, support in place for the students and the family involved in this situation, and to pass along that the community is has taken pause in light of this situation, and really to remember a variety of issues that may come to mind, most importantly, the love that we have for our students, and to thank everyone that has been involved in providing support, because I do understand that many of the families involved, that are familiar with the situation, have had a significant loss and have been greatly affected, the students, faculty, and staff at other schools as well. And I just wanted to thank you for your very quick response to Mr. Payne and putting things in place, as well as all the other SVSU staff and faculty involved. Thank you.
Are there other citizens' comments before we move on to the presentation? Well, we are going to welcome Helen Fields and Stephen Green, and Catherine Keyes was unable to come tonight. She presented 2 years ago. She also has a space in the middle school gardens for her summer program, and I don't know if you will mention her. So if you have any questions, we can ask her later, but they have We have a lot of things going on outside in the garden, so welcome. Thank you. You want to start with something?
Yeah, I'm going to just project some pictures that are from the garden experience. There's no coordination whatsoever between the slideshow and the text. So,
We like to just give you something to look at and enjoy and get a sense of what it was like to be in the garden this past summer. And we did the same thing last year, and I think just every once in a while, stop looking at your papers and look up at the pretty pictures and the faces of happiness. I'm Helen Fields. I've been working as garden manager at the middle school for 4 years, in addition to being a social studies teacher. You'll see that we've made herbal extractions from comfrey with Catherine Keyes' group this summer. Her older students had helped us. This is us making our own bug-off spray at the farmer's market, and we took our Mighty Food Farms carrots from our CSA that we got from Farm to School grant and sold carrot juice at the farmer's market. These boys just met each other at camp, and I'm saying that that's a long-term relationship there. Here we have some of the beautiful fruits of our labor, including Smiling Faces and Baby Cheapy, who was born over this early summer. We visited Hilltop Farm, where Maureen Gardner gave us a fabulous science tour of the ins and outs of dairy farming. And this is the upper bed, where we grew lots and lots of green beans and radishes and other veggies. We spent a lot of the summer cooking as well, although it was really hard to go inside because we did have a great summer. And this is the sustainability class, newly created, that we'll be talking about. They're dill pickle? Lacto-fermented pickles. And here they are harvesting the cabbage for which they are about to prepare. Did they make coleslaw this time? I think not yet, or we will be. Our alumnus, as you well know, he was well-spoken last year at this meeting, for those of you that were here. And he was holding up one of the baby chicks that was part of our community this summer. So enjoy those slides as we carry on with our meeting. Last year at this time, I'm looking now at the piece that has a staple on it. You have 3 pieces of paper in front of you. I apologize for using so much paper, but I think that under the circumstances, it was easier for us to get this into your hands than try and send all of this electronically and hope that you read it in time. The minutes of the Ag Land Use Committee are unapproved. We just met a couple of days ago, it seems. Maybe it was a week. It's been a long week. So please note that this is a draft of the minutes, unapproved. The flyer that's in your hand, the Grow It flyer, our connection with Vermont Community Gardens Network as one of our grantors for the past 4 years. They've also been mentoring us, and they have sponsored 2 community garden workshops here at our school. We've made some fabulous meals and served a lot of the community members as we came together to talk about our common goals, with Charlie Nardozzi leading some of the projects. The next one is October the 24th, next week, and we hope that some of you will be able to come for part of that, if any, and maybe even all of it. That'll be October 24th at the middle school, and it's a sliding scale workshop fee of $30. And there's some contact information to register for the meals. Last year at this time, the Ag Committee came before the board. We requested that the gardening program be a line item. That's a recommendation of some of the board members. And this request was granted, and as a result, we've seen rapid progress in the use of the gardens as an educational resource for the school. Our success has been the result of both the financial support from this board, the vision of our new principal, Tim Payne, and the ongoing support from educators, service providers, volunteers, private funders, and the community at large. We've had several volunteers from Master Gardeners this summer as well. Our private grants awarded to the school in this past year, for the 4th year, we had a Gardens for Learning grant, $1,500 this year. Well, our new funder, New England Grassroots Environmental Fund, NEGEF, gave us $2,500 to start up our composting program. And we received a very, very well-received $3,500 stipend to bring 7 of us up to Shelburne Farms for 3 days, like practically the first 3 days after school. So that's dedication for you. Tim Payne, the principal, led the team with Maureen O'Neill, the director of Abbey Food Services, attending all 3 days. Tracy Galley of the Physical Education Department, Allison Brigham, science teacher, myself, Helen Fields, the social studies teacher, Chelsea Leggett, another English teacher, and Stephen Green, our new sustainable living teacher. This training was designed to assist team members in the development of a plan for integrating sustainable education into the school culture. The team continues to meet and will be facilitating a Fall Harvest Festival on November 1st as part of this effort. So we also invite the board members to November 1st if you can come and help us wear your jeans and boots. I can't tell you some of the surprises, but think hayride. We're crossing our fingers. By the way, we need donations of apples and pumpkins. Think apples and pumpkins you want to bring to the school to help us have a party.
Okay, I'm going to pick up with the next section here on the sustainable living class, and I recognize this is terrible pedagogy to read to you off of a text, but I'm hoping I can get away with it. So a major boost to the agricultural program this year has been the creation of the sustainable living position, which is replacing the former tech ed position. The sustainable living position is intended to serve as a project-based science class that makes use of the gardens, forests, and other natural resources available on the grounds of MAUMS. The class has been structured such that all students in the middle school will take a sustainable living class every year for 1 trimester. This means I get to see every child in the school every year for all 3 years that they are here. So it's a fabulous opportunity to give them some life skills and give them a little bit of appreciation for sort of the history of Vermont and the sustainable ways that we have had in the past and hopefully in the future. Some of the projects that we have done so far, we made pickles using lacto-fermentation. So if you don't know what that is, that means there was no vinegar involved. They were steeped in their own brine and made their own vinegar. We have harvested basil and made pesto pasta. We learned how to make charcoal. And we're going to be practicing a simple technique for analyzing organic content of the soil. So we're going to be doing some of our own soil testing here in connection with the garden. So some of this sounds like home ec, but I always try to bring in sort of a scientific perspective and understanding to the things that we're practicing either outdoors, in the garden or in the kitchen or in the forest. In the future, the sustainable living classes may help to design and implement an expansion of the school gardens, learn more about food processing, investigate the biodiversity of our woodlands, help to develop an American chestnut restoration nursery, and grow fruit trees and more. There's a lot of possibilities out there for not just using the gardens, but using the whole grounds here in going out into the forest. We've done some interesting things around magnifying glasses and pine needles, if you can imagine. Curriculum integration. Okay, this was one of our goals when we started out with the garden program, and I think that we have seen a tremendous amount of growth in this over the years. More teachers are beginning to take advantage of the learning opportunities that we can provide with the garden. Last spring, students on several teams were taught how to conduct a bioassay of the compost to assess for potential toxins. This is a standard scientific test for easily done within context of a simple school, just growing seeds and comparing them to seeds that are grown under sort of pristine conditions. Let's see, so not to drag this out too long. Okay, we have an MAUMS garden blog now, and I encourage everybody to just Google MAUMS garden blog, and I think that you'll find it interesting. A lot of the things that are going on in the garden are going to be posted there, have been posted there. Let's see. Fall students in Mrs. Peck's class are working on a major STEM project. Okay, STEM is science, technology, and math. This is an engineering initiative that is very big right now. And her class is going to be designing compost bins for the garden, and we're going to be using some of the grant funding that we have to build the compost bins, and then they can monitor them and see how well they work. So that's one of the projects that's happening. And let's see, I was surprised and pleased a couple weeks ago to find that when I took my sustainable living class out to the garden to gather soil samples, we were joined by a math class that had come out to take measurements for the Three Sisters garden, and a guided study class that had come out to do some cleanup. And I can see that if things continue the way they're going, we're going to have sign-ups and maybe a traffic cop on the road out here leading down to the garden. So I think we've had a lot of success in this way. And I think I'm going to turn the rest of it over to my wife.
Okay. With regard to the future and our visioning, I would like to report a little bit about that, although I'm holding back with some secret stuff that may emerge. Who knows? The future has plenty of possibilities. But in response to the increased use of the gardens and our exposure to these greater possibilities at Shelburne Farms, the Sustainable Ed team, now called New Roots, is seeking to develop a plan for how to grow and develop and create a more intentional use of the space as an outdoor classroom. The current budget. As for the garden, we hope to plant a substantial bed of garlic in the remaining days of autumn in order to have a place at the Garlic Festival next fall. We're likely to have a